Good morning, everyone. Oh, we got 5 people on here already. I'm gonna grab my water really fast. All right. Hi, Michelle. I was just thinking about you actually. I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday morning, but I know I was out in my side balcony folding laundry, and you crossed my mind for some reason, and I didn't know why, but I just was like, oh, there's Michelle. I haven't seen you in a little bit, so I look forward to seeing your face soon. But it's nice seeing your name here. Good morning, Jessica. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. My hair is a little bit knotty. It's been blown around on the beach today. But so today there's a couple things. I almost thought this was the message for today, but I kind of felt like switching it up a little bit because I got two really big moments of contemplation today that felt very similar to a message coming through. But one of them I made into a post, and it was a little bit. It's on Instagram, and did I put it on Telegram? If not, I will. I'll double check. I don't remember doing. I don't remember putting it on Telegram, but I know it's on Instagram, and it was about, again, going deeper into that storehouse, open the storehouse hashtag. And the message came through. What that was coming through was about how hashtags have been slipped into our consciousness and have been used as a way, as a hypnosis technique to programming our minds as to where our attention goes. So, as we know, throughout the last couple of years, some of the most trending hashtags on majority of social media platforms have been the news stories, the in order to follow a story, you follow this hashtag. And a lot of those hashtags that have been trending on social media are because of the fact that they are coding us to continually be tuned into, what do I need to be afraid of? What's the update on this fear-based illness, this fear-based political situation, this fear-based war, and also coding us with hashtags that look like they are unifying when really they are dividing people. So this whole download came in, and as a certified hypnotherapist, like how we are programmed in our conditioned life has been something that I have studied for myself, that I have um, like unpacked in my own being, and understand more. And I'm understanding more and more as I look at how so many subtle ways are injected into our everyday life on these screens that inject us with programming. And the idea of hashtags was really deconstructed today for me. And it then opened up a deeper layer to what we are being called to do here on the hashtag open the storehouse. This isn't about like, let's hashtag, let's go trend, let's go viral, and all of this stuff. But what it is starting the conversation about how do we start to infiltrate the algorithms of these social media platforms and pull people's attention to the other side, the other expression of programming. How do we in this community support others in opening up to a new perspective of what is happening? And how do we then invite them into our world of the fifth dimensional reality, where the frequency of abundance for all, freedom for all, sovereignty for all, unity for all comes into play? People don't know that exists because they're so in tuned to look for the thing to fear, look through the thing to worry about, follow the thing. So I make sure it's not coming towards me. I got to follow this war hashtag to make sure it's not coming on my area. But what if we start asking people to turn their attention using this algorithm towards the things that are most that are appearing now and are coming into our realities in a beautiful way in the form of these storehouse moments coming in. So the more that we share that hashtag, the more that we share our moments, the more that we are in our own awareness in every now moment of how am I being paid right now? How am I being paid in peace and joy and love and abundance and money and all the things? And when it comes in and you can snap a picture and share it, understand that in that moment you have coded that image with that frequency, with that currency. And when you then post it on all of your social media platforms with that hashtag, which we are now in consciousness intentionalizing, that every time you use that hashtag is programming the being that is looking at that picture with the programming of abundance, of opening their own storehouse for them to receive the abundance that you just did and in that moment. So we are coding not only individual consciousnesses, but we're also recoding the algorithm through consciousness on social media. So it's really important that we're doing that, and I think it's a fun experiment to me and a fascinating one as well. So if you could go back and read that post either on Instagram or Telegram, again, if it's not there, I'll repost it. It's really important for us to pay attention to that. And we've been hearing pay attention, pay attention, pay attention for I have for a couple weeks. And I know on our calls for the Ascension Bank members, many of us have been called to pay attention a little bit more and to focus in our awareness, which brings me to today's message on awareness and really being present to what shows up in your reality and how and being aware of how you once would have navigated the journey, and then what are you choosing, how are you choosing to navigate the journey. So I just want to share a little story about something that I have been experiencing and really being aware of, and it's been fascinating how much I've changed, and also what I came to notice and to know today, that you all had a huge all the Ascension Bank community, the Daily Tuning community had a really big part in supporting a light worker today, that I hadn't seen it like this, and I got open to a new perspective. And it's really important that I share this story with you and this perspective because you had something to do with it. So as you listen to the story, you're going to be like, how do I fit in here? But I will get to it. So many of you knew or have heard the story if you've been around since we were in Ukraine. I shared a story on one of the daily tune-ins in from Ukraine about this beautiful soul that I met one night when Bud and I were out eating, and it was a night that it was a day that was really hard for us. It was like a really go deep and be in the grief and feel the pain kind of day, and we kind of started coming out of it, and we were both like, let's just go out to eat. Let's go get something to eat at our favorite little restaurant, and it was a cozy little place, and just felt warm, and it was really cold, and we're in the middle of winter. And we went in and we were sitting at our table, and this beautiful couple came in, and the woman, she was so young to me. I mean, she's 19, so she's very young. But she came in, and she just, my eyes went right to her. I was completely drawn into her. She didn't say anything. We didn't make eye contact right away. She came in, she was kind of quirky with these little Harry Potter glasses, and we made eye contact, and just kind of nodded and smiled. And she went and sat over, with her I don't know if he was a date or whatever, a friend. And at the end of it, we all kind of had our meals, didn't talk, didn't do anything except for amongst our tables. And when Bud and I got up to leave, she had already left the restaurant, but she had come back, and we were putting our jackets on, and she handed me one of these Milka bars. These are like my crack, these little Milka bars. She handed me the crackly one, the rice one, and which is my favorite, which I can't find here in Albania. But she handed me one of the rice bars, and she said, "I don't know why, but she said, you're very beautiful, and I wanted to give you a gift, and I wanted to give you something, a gift or a present." And my heart just melted, and I said, "Well, like, what in the world? What?" Like, and she said, "I don't know. I just saw you, and I just thought you were beautiful, and you were very peaceful. And when I walked out, I wanted to give you a gift." And it was funny because Bud was sitting there, because I had said to him at the table that, wow, she really, this girl, I don't know what it is, her energy is just so amazing. I just saw something about her. And so he said back to her, he's like, my wife said the same thing about you. She said, that you were like this bright little thing that came in. And she said, no, she couldn't believe that I had seen the same thing in her that she saw in me. It was a beautiful attraction moment, not in anything, intimate, nothing, like nothing sexual, nothing like that. It was a light worker seeing a light worker. That's really what it is in the highest perspective. We just saw each other, we recognized each other, we resonated right away. We ran into each other a couple times in Ukraine, had coffee here and there, not much, because it was only about 2 or 3 weeks before we left. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to build a relationship, but I had enough of a relationship with her to see her. And she was 19. She was estranged from her family since for a couple of years. She had just started working, supporting herself, because she just had to find her independence and her freedom from a family that was very much emotionally and mentally abusive. And she was living on her own and just searching for something. And I invited her. I said, well, when we get to Saranda, I'll let you know. And if you want to come down, if and she had never traveled. And as you all know, last week, she traveled here. She finally, she called, not called me, but she sent me a message on Instagram and said, I want to come. And I said, you get here and Bud and I we'll take care of you while you're here. We'll give you a place to stay. And you just come and practice what it's like to fly free for a little bit from your home. She had never left Makachua, only to stay in Ukraine. So she's never traveled. And she took a bus, a train, another bus, a plane to get here, and a couple taxis along the way. And at 19, she braved one of the hardest legs of travel that one can take on their first trip, and she got here. Y'all, within 3 days, she had decided that she needed to see more of the world. She's going to move to Saranda. She had a job waiting for, she has got a job waiting for her. She made a love connection while she's here. And like that just like kind of not exploded, but that blossomed in less than a week. Like her world started to fall into place. And she left today to go back to Makachua, to Ukraine, to get her stuff, quit her job, say goodbye to her mother, who she has a relationship with, and is heading back here in the beginning of May to start a whole new life and to start I would call for her soul life. And she keeps saying, I just want to live from my soul. And she uses these words. But as she left today, I was exhausted. I was completely exhausted. She left her early in the morning, and I was like, "What am I so exhausted from?" And here's all of that has to do with this beautiful message. What I realized is that I love to hold space and to nurture people. And in the last year and a half, it's just been nurturing and holding space for Bud and I to navigate our own journey, to navigate our own healing journey. And that's been really, really beautiful. And at the same time, I have forgotten what it's like to have someone in your space and feeling like you have to, not that you have to, that I wanted to nurture her. I wanted to guide her. And all of this light worker, experience and knowing everything that I do about consciousness, wanted to just be here for her. So allowing her to have her journey here without me navigating it, or me telling her like, oh, today we're going to go to the beach. Today I'm going to show you this. Today, keeping her busy, bless you, and entertaining was not at all what I was called to do. And yet my ego had a really hard time, because Bud and I, we be a lot, we be, and we are quiet a lot. And for a 19-year-old, there were moments where I could see she was struggling with being with us until we were kind of ready to go on with the day. And yet I wanted to entertain her. I wanted to ease the pain or the frustration. It wasn't frustration, but ease the discomfort, right? But after all of this year, and after all of our conversations here, I knew that I had to let her have this journey. She had to go. I introduced her a couple of people around town that I know, which is one of them is who she got her job from. But I didn't want to find her a job. I told her that, we weren't going to be here to house her. She has to get her own apartment, but that I we would be here to support her in some way. Here's the most beautiful thing about this, and this is how I realized how much of this girl's journey has been led by you all and has been supported and invested in by you all. Her plot twist came the day we met in Mukachua. Our paths crossed, and as our paths crossed, I got to see from my level of consciousness, I got to see how it works when two people resonate, soul family comes together. She got to see from her level of consciousness, being new and wide awake, but very unfamiliar with the world of creation, of creating her own life. She got to see from her level of consciousness what it's like to be supported unconditionally. And because she kept saying it the whole week here, she kept saying, I don't understand why you're doing this. Why do you help me? Why do you support me? Why do you make me laugh? And I was like, why wouldn't I? Because she is here to elevate her own experience of life. And as I listened to her stories, I saw the intelligence, I saw the desire, and I saw her soul beaming through, wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to be fully expressed. And I, as the space holder for her, I was just simply there at the right time to be her team, her boots on the ground, her light worker team to help support her. And she needed a plane ticket back, which was $150. And she's going out on a whim, and she is taking a leap, just like we talk about here. Take the leap and everything will work out. And that's what I told her. So Bud and I invested $150 to help her find a plane ticket to get back here, with the intention that that's the investment. We invested in you coming here, immersing into our world. And y'all, our world is pretty 5D. Bud and I live very abundantly without, y'all know where I am, but without the donations of you coming in here and helping to support Bud and I to do this work and have this beautiful place to have and to host immersions for people, to immerse them in and to have that be our calling. You all help to support this platform, to support us, which means your support was paid forward today in helping another light worker get her journey started, to get her new world just opened up. She has to create it. She is responsible for that. She is responsible for this new relationship. She is responsible for her work relationship and building all of that. But we as a community invested in a really young light worker who finally got to see and to experience and to know that this world exists that she always knew about, the world she was taking a step forward to when she estranged herself from her family at 16, when her father died. And when her father passed away, her family got real possessive. But this is how you have to do it. This is how you have to do it. She just kept breaking away, just like all of us. We all kind of like resisted some of the normal stuff, the advice, what people thought she should do. And as she shared, I'll share this one last thing too, which I thought was so interesting. Again, watching human behavior and how we are taught things from generation to generation, how this works. She called her mother and told her that she was going to move. And her mother said, well, it sounds like a good idea, but once you start traveling, that just gets old. So it's better just to not travel, not to subject yourself to it. You should just stay in Makachua, just stay with us. That travel thing will get old. And she said, but Dad, I know I'm just being manipulated. I'm just being manipulated to stay. And she said, I know it's because my mom is afraid. And I know she already knows. She already knows what took many of us a long time to understand. So I had this experience with this very in human age, young light worker, but an old soul that is just now coming into her prime and is being supported by other light workers because you all are supporting her in her journey. So I'm going to be updating you on her. And I've already given her the lowdown. I'm like, hey, when you jump off the cliff, there's some fear and there's discomfort and there might be some pain in there. But you know what? It's going nowhere but taking you up. It's going to help you shed everything that you did. So all of this to say, this is how I believe we are being called into our roles as the support team, as the first responders, right? So we keep hearing these words come up in these messages, and as I really tune into them and I file them, so that when something happens in my reality, I can say, "Oh, that's the message from 2 or 3 days ago, a day ago was about being a first responder." I was a first responder for her. I'm not special. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying this is how we're being called. So when someone crosses our path that just strikes us, that we just resonate with and we converge, that is our opportunity to be a first responder, to be there in support, to plant seeds when asked, to help when asked. I wouldn't have offered to help. But she asked and she said, I just need a ticket here. I just need a ticket back. And I talked to Bud, and we both said, we will just give you a ticket back. Everything else is up to you. And we were all just really good. I have a new soul family here. I now have evidence that an immersion here with us changes everything for someone. It's 100% so far. One person came and one person left, completely changing their lives. It's not because Bud and we are magic makers, but it's not because of us. It's again, when community comes together, where two or more are gathered, an idea, creation, intention multiplies and expands in possibility. In her world, three of us were together and actually four of us were together for most of the week, and we were holding her expansion, her transformation, her initiation in our worlds, in our minds, in our consciousness, and supporting her through it. And where four of us were gathered, all different ideas came together, and that she couldn't think of herself, and she kept saying, that's a really great idea, I'm going to go in that direction. And then Bud would say, well, how about this, you can try doing this. And she would walk out here the next day and go downtown and go try what Bud told her, and just like that, everything fell into place for her. It's the most amazing thing for me to have witnessed, to be a part of, from day one back in, I don't know, maybe January of Ukraine, in Ukraine, to now. Her plot twist happened, and it could have been part of my plot twist, but either way, our plot twists are moving together, and that is the soul family that we are being brought together with. And as we are brought together to support and to be supported by soul family, whether it's on our digital communities, whether it's in person, as we pay attention more and more, we will see how all of this experience that we have been through, that we have picked up over the years of our healing and our ascension journey and our awakening journey, our spiritual journey, whatever you want to call it, all of those years, now that wisdom is being called forth. And the interesting thing is, we don't have to regurgitate it. We don't have to teach. All we have to do is mentor, bring people in, immerse them in this consciousness, immerse them in your perspective, and allow them to open up and feel that perspective and resonate with that perspective. Because when they do, they will be there to ask for what they need, and you will be there to support with what you are willing to provide. You all provided donations, whether you're in the Ascension Bank or whether you have provided donations over PayPal or over Buy Me a Coffee. You have to know that part of that donation went to support someone today, to to jump off that cliff. You invested in a light worker, and I was the channel of that investment. And I'm so grateful to be able to do this. It's my first completely um, openly aware experience of being a support randomly to somebody that I met up with in consciousness in this ascension journey. it's the most, I feel very honored and I feel excited to be able to do that. And it really opened up a whole level of opportunity of what happens if and when donations come um, in abundance. What's being called forth is to figure out how to reinvest these donations into this community. I don't know what that looks like. Those are the words. That's the idea. That is the energy. How this works, I don't know. But what I had to invest from the donations was a small amount, but it was just the perfect amount that she needed. It stretched me to give of that investment, and it also stretched her to ask for it. So we both grew, we both learned, and we both invested. And thank you all for being part of that investment. Super, super cool. And I'm flying on. I'm kind of like, I'm exhausted. Like, I'm really surprised at how long or how exhausted I am at holding space for that week. I didn't feel it literally until she left, and I could just go, ah. And I realized how much. So here's some work that I have to do, being and inviting people to immersions, as I have to put a little bit more of a boundary of lessening um, my responsibility in their experience, because I felt myself more than I wanted to be like, oh, I have to show her something, I have to take her something, I have to entertain her, and backing off of that, and really being in my own awareness of how am I supporting someone. Because if we over support, we enable that. But if we just give enough so that they know they're seen, they know they're heard, but they still have to do the work, then we all win, we all support, we all ascend, and we all move into a higher expression of ourselves. So thank you for that. Good morning. If you have no fear, you do not see this as fearful. Mary, what's this? If you have no fear, you do not see. Yeah, well, I mean, I do see. I see what you're saying. I didn't know what specifically you were talking about, but yes, I do agree that if you don't have fear, if you don't really look for fear, you don't feel fear. Because that's the skill set we're coming into. We have nothing to fear. Every single thing is in our highest and best good. But because we've been programmed to look for the fear, to be in the fear, to fear, to not be in fear, then everything goes, all of our consciousness has gone to what has been fear-based, rather than going towards the truth, being led to the truth, which is there is nothing to fear because everything is in our highest and best good. So if we if as we move into that 5D world, there is no fear. So when something pops up, we're like, oh, this is in our highest and best good. Okay, I'll just roll with it. That's a little painful. And then we move through it and see the higher expression and understand it. Then fear just goes away, but it's still present. It's still exciting. It's still there to show us when there's some excitement, something a little bit that we're afraid of. That's the direction typically to walk through in order to get to the other side of our journey, of our soul-led journey. I'm blissfully ignorant right now about anything outside my present moment bubble. Yeah, Jessica, I think, and I remember years and years ago talking about with someone like, oh, I don't even watch news anymore. And they were saying, well, how do you stay informed? And it kind of don't, and I couldn't really answer it, but I was like, oh, that's true. But again, I think that is the programming, that we have to know what's going on in the world to appreciate our world and all of that. But we really don't. Like, the more we know about what's going on in the world, the more we actually are now being forced to appreciate our world. So if we consciously choose to shut down that darker world, it really does disappear, because I have done it, and it disappears. And we don't live in ignorance. We live in the knowing that outside of our reality is a reality, like somebody else's reality that could be very full of fear. But in mine, I know what's going on. I don't fear it, because if anything does affect my world from the outside world, it's a trigger and in my highest and best good to pay attention and to move through it with the highest of consciousness and the highest of perspectives. So it just gives me more practice to evolve even higher and to form a solution from a higher perspective, which always makes me grow. So there's nothing to fear in that. We are literally getting into the point where like, wait, why did I fear so long? Why did I sit in anxiety for so long? Why did I worry about every step? And why am I not worried about where I am with my kids? I am not worried. I know this time, even though I don't understand it, I have so much faith that this time apart is taking us to a higher expression that I can't even understand what that feels like yet. Because when I even imagine it, I have to shut it down because I'm so happy at the thought of seeing my kids and spending time with them and visiting with them and showing them this area that I almost can't handle it yet. I can't hold that much light. So this is my hallway to be able to practice being in such discomfort that I have zero fear, zero doubt that it's taken me and my kids and our family into a higher elevated expression of health all around. So I don't have fear. I have desire, yes. I would give anything to just, punch my older kid in the shoulder and be like, "What are you doing?" And give my little Dutchie, my little youngest son, a big old hug and just feel their little bodies next to me. So you have that desire, but I don't fear it. I don't fear whatever is to be is I'm good with what is at this moment. Tomorrow might be a different moment, but I'm feeling good. I feel I've gotten my fill of nurturing somebody for a week, and now I'm getting my fill of being quiet and restful at this point. Christine says, Jessica, me too. Most of my life, I've told everyone I live in my happy bubble. Nice. I love that. Love is love. Beautiful. You've been the recipient of this process. Oh, Mary, thank you. That was part of the point. See, that's why you're so good. You good to me. The second part of the investment of paying it forward is I have been the recipient on my journey. I have required help monetarily, well, in a lot of ways, energetically, in a lot of ways. And I've had soul family and, actual biological family show up and help me through some of these transitions into a higher expression. Sometimes we just simply need just a little bit of an investment, somebody to boost us up to see us. And I thought about that, Mary. Actually, I was like, how many people have invested in my own growth? How many people I know? My mom has been a huge investor in my growth, and I've had friends like soul family, beautiful friends who have seen my vision, who have seen what we're doing here, what I've been doing and working on for a long time, who have invested. And because of that, I know how much of an investment, the smallest investment goes so far. And when we learn how to maximize it and take risks with those investments, we can maximize the return on the investment. So I have always done my best to maximize the return of the investments of support that I have received. And I saw today, as soon as I gave my friend the okay that we would invest in her, she immediately took it up and was so grateful. And I knew in that moment I just paid it forward. I paid it forward in the way that I could, like other people have invested in me. So thanks, Mary. Yeah, I have been through the same process of receiving support and reinvesting that support in me. And here I am. I feel pretty good. I feel extremely privileged, extremely honored, and extremely grateful to be able to have these daily tune-ins, to share this story, to be part of this team that's investing in others. This is how we do this. This is how our work expands and multiplies. And it is expanding and multiplying while it's on its way back to Ukraine. I bet you $10 on all of the different legs she's on. I would bet more actually. She is spreading her light because she is now on her way home to expand and multiply her expression of life because of what we have seen in the world and what I've seen in her, what you all see in me. And now she gets to go pass that light on to everyone that she comes in contact with. It's so really is so freaking cool. And I see that in the 5D. This is how 5D works. This is how we support each other. This is how community comes together. And I'm going to nurture this community because I'm getting more and more passionate about figuring out all the ways that we can invest as our storehouses come in. How then can we pay it forward and reinvest into our community? I don't know. I'm open for ideas and I'm looking for ideas because this community is doing some really powerful things, and we are going to reap the rewards and harvest all of the rewards that are in our karmic storehouse to come in so that we can keep reinvesting into this world that we believe so much in, that we have taken leaps of faith off cliffs for it when we had nothing but our heart pulling us forward. That is a really cool community. Those are the people that are my soul family. You all are my soul family. And I so appreciate you being here and for supporting this, for donating, for all the things. Thank you so much. For most of you, might see you on the Ascension Bank gathering call that we have here in a little bit. If you're not a member of the Ascension Bank, it's $22 a month. And you're like, it's just to pay for the platform, basically. Like, just pay for, I do have expenses, but it's the the least expensive investment to come in and be in a community where we all talk. That's the priceless part of it. So it's just an investment in yourself to have these conversations with people that can hear you, that people can support you, and that people can and come together in consciousness. And we are changing this world. I already see it. I feel it. I know it. Thank you all so much. I'm rambling. I'm at 35 minutes. And for Lisa, I hope she comes in here. She is one of our Ascension Bank members. She is getting some kind of surgery on her plot twist wrist break. So if we could just send her healing vibes throughout this day. I think in this moment she is in surgery or going into it. So she couldn't be here, but please send her lots of love, lots of healing. And while you're at it, just beam it out to all of us. We will receive it and we will beam it out in expanded form to the entire consciousness of planet Earth. Thank you all so much for leading and for being a pioneer of this community. I'm so grateful, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.